It's 5:30. I'd like to call to order the June meeting of the Urbana Human Relations Commission. Can we have a roll call, please? There you go.
Works better if I unmute. Carol Bradford.
Present.
Stacy Burnett. Reverend Florence Kaplow. Megan McKissick. Peter Resnick.
Here.
Francis Rigberg.
Here.
And Julie Robinson Schaefer.
Here.
Very good. We have a quorum. Next, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Can we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
I'll
second.
Okay. That was moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Are there any comments, changes people would like to see? Okay, we will have a vote.
Carol Bradford.
Approve.
Peter Resnick.
Yes.
Francis Rigberg.
Yes.
Julie Robinson Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay, our agenda is approved. The next item is the minutes of our meeting held on May 12th. May I have a motion for approval of those minutes?
I'm going to make a motion to approve with one minor edit.
Sure.
Which is, I flip pages around. At the top of the minutes, it just has Carol listed as late arrival, which we generally don't do. We could just put her in members present. I don't think there's any reason to call it out. So moved.
Okay, so moved. Do we have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you. So it's been moved and seconded with a small edit, the approval of the minutes on May 12th. Are there any other comments or suggestions or corrections that anyone has? I want to say I really like the minutes that Tamara is writing for us. People who write minutes don't always get a thank you, but she deserves one. Okay, let's have a roll call vote.
Carol Bradford.
It's on the minutes.
Carol Bradford.
Yes.
Peter Resnick.
Yes.
Francis Rigberg.
Yes.
Julie Robinson Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay, good. The minutes are approved. Public participation. You see about raised hands. We have several attendees, but no one has a raised hand that I'm aware of, I can see. So I'm going to say that they're seeing none. We'll move on to unfinished business. And I would, at this point, last time we met, we have discussed in the past a letter to go out to landlords. Pete has suggested and drafted one. A letter going out to landlords who are seemingly in clear violation of the ordinance with respect to, possibly more than one, but at least with respect to conviction record. And it's also been suggested that a letter go out to all our registered landlords with respect to this. And on looking at we all have our favorite parts of the ordinance, and here's one of mine, which we are currently not consistent with. It says under section 12-107, posting of notice. Every person subject to this article shall post and keep in a conspicuous location where business or activity is customarily conducted or negotiated, a notice provided by the city of Urbana, whose form and language shall have been prepared by the officer, setting forth excerpts from or summaries of the pertinent provisions of this article and information pertinent to the filing of a complaint. And as far as I know, well, in my tenure since 2008, and this has not been done. And having had a personal experience with the posting of such nature in my work when I had someone said they weren't going to pay us, and I pointed and I said, yes, you're going to pay us because it's the law. I'm very partial to these. So I would like to suggest that we put something out that a landlord, any landlord, would have to include in at least one of the following places: posted in a noticeable place in their office if they take people into their office for renting, or online in their website, and or as an attachment to the application. And that way it will be very obvious to the person looking to rent and to the landlord what the situation is in Urbana with respect to getting a rental unit. I know that it says that the officer should do it. That's Carla. But I also have a draft of what one might look like on my screen. Now, can you guys see my screen? Okay.
Yes, just fine.
Okay, this is the sort of thing I have in mind. That could go, it's a PDF file. It's just a, what do you call it? PowerPoint slide. And I tried to state the protected classes in a way that were easily understood by people, not necessarily exactly as they are. And then the thing about filing a complaint. This is not a definitive one. This is just a draft to show you the kind of thing I think we should do. And I'd like to open that up to discussion if anyone would like to move that we include such a thing with our mailing, if and when we do our mailing, or possibly independently of that, or just want to, why don't we have a motion and then we can discuss it a little bit. Or we can just discuss it.
Well, just by way of preliminary discussion, we, in my tenure, which is just a little longer than yours, we had done this for a little while, and then of course it fell off the map somehow, perhaps a change of officers or whatever it was. So I think this should be a yearly thing to make sure we send out. I guess my only concern with what you've got is it's specific to renting.
Oh,
and
yes.
We've got to do it for employment, places of employment. We've got to do it for any public accommodation, which is basically any business. So maybe making a generic one would be cheaper to do because we print these up, I expect, and send people little cards that they can post somewhere. I want to make this an expense for employers and landlords.
Yeah, a more generic one is very possible. That's very possible, very doable. Okay.
So
real quick, sorry, I just was going to let you guys know, Reverend Kaplow is in the attendees with her hand raised, so I don't know if she needs to be pulled in.
Oh my gosh.
She needs to be moved over. She probably just got here.
Yes, she's a regular. Okay. There she is. Hi. Yeah.
And
how can she go over to
the UPTV person has to move her over from an attendee to a panelist.
Jason?
There she goes.
Okay, great.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure she got pulled over.
Thank you for noticing that. Thank you so much. Okay. All right.
So, I mean, do you want simply a motion? I don't even know if we need a motion.
Right.
Perhaps Carla would agree that this will be one of the 5 billion things on her list as she starts the job, and but one of us could volunteer to write up a generic one and get that rolling. I don't know what's going to work best for Carla at this point. I'm sure she has the deer in the headlights look at this.
Okay. Yeah. I would love to work with Carla on this, and anybody else is welcome as well. Ideas and drafts and so forth. And
can I just clarify the intent? So this to me looks to be geared toward those individuals looking to rent, obviously. So sending this to landlords, I guess, is this something that we're sending this to them that they need to post in whatever area? Okay.
Yes, they need to have it either on the wall or we can decide how we'd want to specify this on the wall, but a lot of stuff doesn't go on in an office anymore. On the website as a link on the website, or in some cases as an attachment to the application. And that would certainly work for hiring as well, I think. Be pretty analogous to hiring.
And can we, as a commission, suggest minimum size requirements? Because I'm just worried that somebody's going to put it in a note card size and, oh, I put it up, you know, and I just want to make sure that everybody is doing this with integrity.
We'll be around to inspect. Well, we probably should do a spot check, and certainly online. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yes,
this has to be a minimum of an 8.5 by 11 size. You know.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree. That'll be part of the job.
I think last time we did this, we actually did send them a poster to put up. So we can just do the size by way of printing it, whatever size we think is appropriate, and send it to them. Yeah. I think it's important that this appear in all places that business is done. So if they have an office, but they also have a website, it should appear on both. If they have a rental or an employment application, it should also appear there, because that may be the mode of them doing business. Some people may have one or all three, or just two, and they should put it in all places.
Right, and our main point of control as the commission, I mean, as the city, as the HR office, is at the point of application, the point of entry. This is not about tenants' rights in general. This is about getting your housing, getting your job. And we also deal with other discrimination on the job, but this kind of posting would be at that point that's so important, and that we're paying a lot more attention to now in all the areas that we're concerned with. So good. I just wanted to get the ball rolling on this, and maybe get back to stop share. There we go. Maybe Carla and I can or get together, or I can send out a few more. I just love to do this kind of stuff. I don't know if that shows at all, but former tech writer goes wild. So good. Does anyone have any other comment or anything they'd like to add or suggest or volunteer to do or anything? Okay, it's good to see you all here. So new business, new person, actually. I'm very happy. First of all, I want to thank Elizabeth for everything that she has done for us. Keeping the ship afloat. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So thank you so much, Elizabeth, who along with Tamara have really kept us going here. And also to the mayor for filling our vacancies. And we have given us such a good commission as we have right now. But I'd like to introduce the new Human Rights and Equity Officer. She has a new title as well, and Carla Boyd. And I was happy to be one of the people who interviewed her. And I'm very impressed with her and very happy she's joining us. Carla, would you like to say a few words?
I just want to say that I'm very happy to be here. I've been learning a lot in the last 2.5 weeks. I've been telling people that I feel like I'm getting a law degree. But it's been interesting. It's been exciting. It's been a whirlwind. But I'm starting to get a good grasp of both of the commissions that I'll be staffing. And I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you, getting to meet each and every one of you individually, so we can have a conversation and just, you can share with me what your thoughts are, what your goals are, how I can best serve this board, this commission.
Well, we're very happy to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, the next will be Pete on the Champaign County Healthcare Consumers' concerns about the housing issues we're facing.
So at this point, I don't think we need a resolution. As soon as I sent out the message last month after our meeting to the mayor, as we talked about, letting her know that this had come up, that the sense of the commission was that we thought this was a good idea. She copied me on a message instructing staff to start preparing the message to go out. I don't know if any progress has been made since onboarding Carla, whether anything happened before that, but both for this and for the direct message to landlords who are, in, I don't want to say clear violation of the ordinance, but apparent violation of the ordinance. I think the best thing, as you just said in this last go around, is for me to set up a meeting with Carla as our introductory meeting, and we can go over what the next step is, who we're going to get to stuff envelopes and all that fun stuff. So unless Elizabeth knows that something has been completed along these ends, I'll work with Carla to get all this stuff rolling.
Yeah, I do not have any information.
Okay. So yeah, we'll and in this case, unlike this more general please post this sign thing, this is more of a clear directive about the particular two categories that are being discriminated against, and making clear that landlords are fully aware of their responsibilities on those two. And I think that's a good request, because if it gets buried in among all the other things, they won't notice to do it. So I'll talk to Carla later this week or early next and set up an appointment and get that rolling.
Very good. Thanks, Pete. Next, we move on to EEO workforce statistics.
And I just want to apologize. For some reason, when I came in, I can't start my video. So I can't raise my hand or do anything.
Oh.
But it's fine. I mean, I'm here. I'm just without a video, just so you know.
Just, yeah, without a voice. Well, you can click the raise hand, I think.
Yes, I can. That's right.
Yeah, so yeah,
as long as somebody keeps an eye on that. All right. Yeah. Just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Okay, Elizabeth, I believe, or Carla doing it? Who's doing it? The workforce statistics. I'm just used to Elizabeth.
We will do it however Carla wants to do it.
Okay, fair enough.
I wasn't sure what I needed to do for this. I have read these are for, I want to make sure I'm understanding what I'm doing. These are the two businesses that are coming before the board. Okay. Elizabeth, if you can help me with this because I'm unfamiliar.
Sure. Yeah. So we only have two on the list for this meeting, and one of them is a repeat from last month. So one of them is Corrective Asphalt Materials, and last month I believe the commissioners had asked for additional information, which they provided to Tamara, and we included when we sent out the information for this meeting. And then they're a fairly small business, 24 employees, I think. And the other is one that you have not seen before, at least recently, is Stryker Sales. And their statistics compared to the Champaign County workforce, Carla and I just talked about this, were unusual. And perhaps Champaign County is not the best comparison because they're a rather large employer, 986 employees, and they're not located in the state of Illinois. But in terms of diversity, they're well below our benchmark from the Champaign County workforce in terms of white employees, and they have a very large number of people of Asian descent and other backgrounds. So those are the two that we have.
I'm just going to unmute myself since I'm not sure people are seeing my hand, so apologies. I am very suspicious of the Native American Alaskan numbers on that. As a person from Washington State, knowing where this company is located, there's something really odd about that. I've never seen a company with such high numbers, unless they are based in an Alaskan village or something. I'm talking about Stryker.
Actually, I believe that our category is labeled Asian. Oh, it's American Indian or Alaskan Native, which does seem high. We have Asian Pacific Islander, which is separate. I thought they were combined for a moment. That is rather wild.
That's like the size of a lot of tribal communities. I mean, it's just, I guess I would question it.
I mean, is there anything particular about Redmond? I was trying to look
It's a suburb of Seattle. It's an incredibly expensive suburb of Seattle where some of the big high-tech companies are based. It's a long way from any tribal community, and most tribal communities in Washington State are very poor with very, very high unemployment. So, I mean, it would be great if this was actually true. It just seems doubtful to me.
And Fran, you're muted, by the way.
I believe that this category does include anyone from Asia, including.
No, so that was
other races. Then where are the Asians? They're not.
They're the next. They're the next.
I can try to explain. So if you look at the comparison to the Champaign County workforce statistics, the Asian or Pacific Islander and American Indian or Alaskan Native categories, I believe, are combined into that other group on that summary level information we give you. But if you look at section 3 of their EEO form, you can see the detail that I think Reverend Kaplow is referencing there. And you have both of those in the information that we sent for the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
This is Carol. So I looked them up too because I thought that was really kind of just weird. And the Redmond population is like 80% Caucasian. So again, unless they're busing people in, or they've got a European, speed train that is bringing them into, I don't know where these folks are coming from that they have on here.
And what are they doing? Is this a sales force?
Yeah, it says they're under professional. So that's why I'm wondering, is this a remote workforce? Is that how they're saying? Because so many people can, because if you look, the technicians definitely don't have that high on the diversity, and the craft workers, they are operations. Those are still pretty high too. So yeah, it seems very, very out of sync with the area they're in.
Yep. Like the Native American, I think it was less than 1% when I looked it up.
Yeah, that's what I saw on Wikipedia as well. Can I'm sorry.
I also see some mention of Kalamazoo as there, which also would not be a place with a large Native American population. It's just, yeah, I think that would be worth asking them about.
And this is Carol again. I had a question anyway, because when I was looking through it, I wanted to know, did they actually send in an EEO? It says no on the form that they checked, no, they didn't have one, but our application process requires one, right? I think I'm
looking at it.
The EEO?
From Stryker, yeah. That's the one that I'm looking at that's got the...
No, Carol's asking whether they submitted their EEO policy statement.
Right.
Oh, the policy
application.
Yeah, I see the harassment one, but I don't see a specific EEO. And they did mark no that it was not included, but we say that they have to attach one. And I just wondered if there was one attached that didn't get sent in the email, or is it really missing? Because they marked no. First, C, I think it's on page 2.
Right.
And the tradition has been, if they mark no, that we sort of provide them with Urbana's sort of template EEO statement, and they have to agree to it in some way. But we don't get too many people that mark no. So
yeah, so that really caught my eye too. Those two things.
So can I make a motion that we do not approve this for the time being, and that the officer contact the company, get their equal opportunity employment statement, and that they explain the high number of Alaskan and Native American employees that they have, because those numbers seem unusual to us, and just defer this until next meeting.
It looks like, by the way, I just looked them up, that they're a kind of high-tech medical supplies company.
Do we know what the contract with the city is about for this?
It's something with the fire department, and I'm guessing it's probably something that they use in responding to medical calls, but I don't know exactly.
Right. No, that makes sense.
And if they're medical supply, I suspect their sales force is broadly distributed. It still doesn't explain the anomaly of the numbers, but that makes a little more sense that they may not be in that Redmond location altogether.
Yeah, and I see down at the bottom in very tiny type, they're bidding on a project for cardiac monitors, defibrillators, and training simulators. So, yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we've moved and seconded that we will not approve the Stryker sales, and we will defer that to when we have contact with them, clear up some of these things, including the form that they don't have. Is there any further discussion at this point? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote.
Carol Bradford.
What are we roll calling for? Sorry.
To defer this one.
To defer. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I agree. We need to defer. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Reverend Florence Kaplow.
Yes.
Peter Resnick.
Yes.
Francis Rigberg.
Yes.
Julie Robinson Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes, leaving us with the corrective asphalt.
So I'll make a motion, just at least for purposes of discussion, that we approve corrective asphalt for 2 years. And I can always withdraw it, but.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Carol. So we've moved and seconded to grant corrective asphalt materials a 2-year approval. Discussion.
So the reason I said 2 years, I thought their letter was spot on. We had concerns that they were in the St. Louis area. They said, no, really, we are trying to recruit from St. Louis, but we can't get people, and gave a perfectly rational explanation of what they're trying to do and the good faith efforts they're making. Yeah. So I didn't see any particular reason to, especially given how small they are, to make them jump through more hoops. They seem to be doing the right thing.
Okay. Any other comments?
This is Carol. I agree. I wish we could use their letter as an example for some of the other companies, because I thought they just did a really great job of detailing the reason their numbers look the way they do, as well as some other factors that, as well as their efforts that they did. So.
Okay. I think we're ready to have a vote on that. Can we have a roll call, please?
Carol Bradford?
Yes, I agree that we approve them for 2 years.
Reverend Florence Kaplow?
Yes.
Peter Resnick?
Yes.
Francis Rigberg?
Yes.
Julie Robinson Schaefer?
Yes.
The motion passes. Excellent. Now we have officers' report. And I believe that would be Carla today.
Yes, that is me. There were no contacts received regarding complaints of discrimination. And we did want to inform the commission that the City of Urbana will resume in-person meetings beginning July 6th. And that's all that I have today.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Just wondering, so I know for a while there that Elizabeth, just because she was not ready to take in complaints if she could, at all not do so, we'd been doing a lot of referrals out to Illinois, IDHR and such. Are you actually prepared to start taking complaints at this point, or are you still ramping up?
I'm still ramping up.
Okay.
I'm in talks to see should we extend that not policy, but that process of referring out as I get comfortable. It's just a matter of me understanding, what the process is, and once I get that, I'm sure I'll be comfortable with doing that.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that's great.
I have a question also. It looks like Carol probably does too. Just to clarify the in-person meetings, since I've not attended any in-person yet, does that just mean next month we will be at where? I don't even know where they are.
Okay. We will be in the Urbana City building on Vine Street, across from the Lincoln Square. And we meet in the city council chambers. And we sit around in a semicircle and proceed. It will be different. Okay. I kind of like the Zoom actually, but okay, what can we do?
And I'm going to add that I'm sure that there will be more specific information coming about, protocols and such. Well, before we get to the next meeting. So.
Okay. I'd like to say also that I imagine Carla knows this, but that if there's a complaint about violation of the ordinance on the part of the city itself, that complaint will come to the HRC, to the commission rather than to the officer. I believe that is the way it is now in the ordinance. And we are in talks with the city about certain concerns about particularly in hiring and the class of previous conviction.
You've got a hand raised.
Yes, Carol.
So I'm a little anxious about coming back in person, because of security. I'm concerned.
Yes.
So are we going to be safe?
I'm sorry, I missed what Ms. Rigberg was saying.
I'm concerned about safety and being in person.
Okay. I
don't like Zoom and all that, but I feel safer doing it this way, and I'm just concerned.
Okay, that I hear you.
I just want to state that I'm concerned about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember feeling uncomfortable one night and then realized there's a policeman sitting right outside the door. And I believe that there's a setup. I'm going to look into that, but I believe there's a setup here for an alarm.
Okay.
If there's a concern.
Okay.
So not health safety concerns, actual physical safety concerns is what you're talking about.
Yes, physical safety concerns.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's with everything that's going on in the world and in this country, and community violence and mass shootings and disgruntled individuals, I'm concerned. I almost, hesitated and continuing, but I just refuse to let anyone, keep me from doing what I enjoy and love, and providing a service, serving my community that I love. So, but I am concerned that we are, for all of us, that we are able to do our civic duty and do it in a way that we're not being mistreated or put at risk.
Yes. Well, we were safe in Zoom. Mm-hmm. I understand, and we're used to that security. Does anyone else have a comment on that? Could you say what might make you feel better, Carol?
Just knowing what the security, like, I didn't know that there was a button, or like just more information about what are the safety precautions. And if we do have concerns, like if we're intercepted in the parking lot or the hallway, who do we take that to? Those kinds of things.
Okay.
During the actual meeting, as far as I know, anybody can walk in. How are we going to be safe?
Mm-hmm. That's a very good issue to raise. Thank you. I will look into that as to what we can have and what we do have.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Announcements. Oh, the only thing I would like to say is that, Carla is no longer the Human Relations Officer. She is the Human Rights and Equity Officer, which I think is stronger and more descriptive, and less likely to be confused with human resources. We have the option of changing the name of our commission as well. Does anybody, I'll just put that out there and say, think about it. If you'd like to be the Human Rights Commission or the Human Rights and Equity Commission, I know sometimes when I say Human Relations Commission to someone, they don't really know what I'm talking about. Just something to think about. Maybe we'll talk about it at our next meeting. Does anybody else?
I'll just say that I would support that. I found that confusing as a citizen when I was approached. I was like, why, if it's the Human Rights Ordinance, is it a Human Relations Commission? Mm-hmm. And it also makes sense to me to kind of line up with the name of the officer, the title of the officer as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it would mean in terms of paperwork and all. Could be
not a whole lot.
Well,
don't worry about that.
But, and I won't be at the July meeting, particularly if it's in person, because I will be far away. Okay. But that I would be in support of that in that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Put it on the menu for next week. Pete.
Yeah. So two things. First of all, with regard to the name, we can certainly make a recommendation to the city if we all think that would be a good thing. But as far as I understand, it's going to require an ordinance change.
Oh, really?
And the council would have to do it. I think the city council is already on the hook for updating for Carla's new title, because that's already defined in the ordinance. So it will be a pain in the tush, but
okay, a little housekeeping will be done.
Yes,
we're not going to let the tail wag the dog here.
The other thing is we do have the ability to Zoom in or have people phone in, so long as we have a quorum in the chamber. So if for whatever reason people are on vacation or there are safety concerns that have not been, addressed, we can, if we've got enough people legally, we can have remote folks.
Yes, Pete has phoned in from many exotic places. So
yes. I just want to say that I believe under the Open Meetings Act, there are only certain situations in which a phone-in is permitted. So if you're out of the area and you can't physically attend, or for illness, but I would have to ask this question, probably one of our attorneys, but I'm not sure that safety concerns would be a reason that somebody would be permitted to phone in under the Open Meetings Act.
Well, we want to address those concerns anyway for everybody. So thank you. But yeah, I understand that.
So I have another question. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to drag out the meeting, I promise. But how many, I guess this may sound weird, like a weird question, but how many commissioners do we currently have? Because I know there were some people who stepped down. And so how many do we have, and what is considered a quorum now?
The commission has only one vacancy, as far as I know. So I think we have 8 people. And we have...
A quorum is statutory, statutory, is always 4, no matter how many of us there are.
No matter the amount. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
And we've had wonderful attendance. I'm very pleased to see that. Makes a huge difference. Okay, anybody else? Any other announcements? Again, welcome to Carla. We look forward to meeting you in person. And thank you all for coming. And the meeting is adjourned. Good night.